but I just wanted to welcome you here. October is National Disability Employment Awareness Month, so we wanted to celebrate that by having a few of our guest speakers here. So today we have the Director of Voc Rehab, Libby Stone-Sterling, and the Director of Blind and Visually Impaired, Brenda Drummond. So I'm going to hand it off now to Libby, and again, thank you for joining us.
Great, well, thank you very much, Dylan. We're always excited to partner with Maine Parent Federation. And I think Brenda and I wanted to come on this first and just talk a little bit about some of the exciting things that we're working on and kind of run down our agenda for the day. So Sam, maybe if you'll put up the first slide. Great. So as Dylan mentioned, October is National Disability Employment Awareness Month, and we have a number of activities that have been going on this month. And today we're really excited to showcase some of the things that we're doing related to pre-employment transition services. And pre-employment transition services are services that were created under the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, a law that was passed in 2014 to really encourage schools and other partners to work closely with VR to offer more opportunities to young people to help them to get ready for employment. And so today we have a number of guest speakers who are going to be talking to us and giving examples of exactly how we're doing that in Maine and how that's working for the young people that we're working with. So before I move on any further, I want to turn it over to Brenda so she may introduce herself.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Brenda Drummond, and as Dylan said, I'm the director for the for blind and visually impaired, and I'm glad to be here with you. We're going to move on to the pre-ets descriptions. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you. We haven't rehearsed this.
So when we talk about the pre-employment transition services, there are 5 specific services, and these are for a younger population than we have often traditionally served in VR. So with the pre-employment transition services, we were able to start at age 14. But Brenda, you always started at age 14, didn't you?
Yes, this is not new for us. So this has been great that we can share this, both divisions.
And one of the exciting things about working with the pre-employment transition services is that it does help us partner more closely with families and with schools to make sure that young people are exposed to activities that are going to raise aspirations, raise expectations, and help them to get ready for employment. So there are 5 pre-ets, as you can see on this screen here: job exploration counseling, work-based learning experiences, counseling on opportunities for post-secondary training and education, and workplace readiness training to develop social skills and independent living. And then lastly, instruction in self-advocacy. So today, through our examples, we're going to show you how we're meeting, and we have lots of things going on, but we're just going to show you a few examples of how we're providing those pre-employment transition services. And before we move forward to the first example, Brenda, is there anything else that you want to add?
I just wanted to touch base a little bit just to say how important work experiences are for students before they leave high school, and even more so for students who are blind or visually impaired, because that reference on their resume is so important, so that employers know that they can work and they've seen that they've done it in the past. And I probably will have more to add as we go along.
Great, thank you. So now we're going to turn it over to Samantha Fenderson, who's going to talk to us about virtual job shadow.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Samantha Fenderson, Assistant Director for Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. And one of the tools that counselors are using across the state is a virtual job shadow, which is a web-based site that really is an all-in-one platform for career exploration. And so our counselors are using this platform for really exploring jobs, so job exploration counseling, and then tying that into counseling on opportunities for enrollment in post-secondary. So the virtual job shadow is a really versatile site which allows students to work at their own pace. So counselors can be working with a student one-on-one, or a student can be working independently through the virtual job shadow, or it can be done in a group setting. So a number of students could be working through the virtual job shadow with the assistance of school staff and also VR counselors at the same time. So the virtual job shadow, just for a quick description, really is a place where there's thousands of videos, a little over 1,000 videos of real professionals in their job. And those folks are really talking about what they do in their job, what their job tasks are, what the education or training is that they have, and what you would see normally in their field. And they also talk about what path they took to get to their job. So it really talks about career pathways. For example, we have a student in Region 3 who had expressed an interest in childcare. So prior to really focusing on childcare, because they're a student, we wanted to make sure that they had the opportunity to look at other professions, just in case they might be missing something out or they're not sure about all of the professions that are out there. So they really did an interest assessment. And like on the slide, it says career interest assessments. And that's really looking at what your interests are, your passions are. And based on the results of that, then you can progress further in the virtual job shadow and look at all of those various job videos. So in the end, it really did confirm for the student that she really has an interest in childcare. So then the focus kind of looked at, all right, let's take a look at all of the various jobs that are within that field. So they really looked at the differences between home daycares, childcare centers, Montessori schools, pre-K and beyond. So even though she may start out working in a childcare center, and it could be a home daycare, there is the option that she's had to be able to view, you know, a career pathway which may take her down for further childcare positions. So it could also take her down the education path of teaching students. So as she was deciding on the type of environments that would be a better fit for her, just while she's in high school and then beyond. So she also was able to take a look at what training and education she may need in order to enter this field. And she really identified that to work in a childcare center, I may need to have an associate's degree, I may need to have CPR training. So she really identified what she needed to have to enter into that field. So the next step was really looking at those post-secondary options within childcare. And the virtual job shadow is a really nice opportunity to do that, because the student can go in and look by a variety of factors. They can look for schools based on funds. They can look for schools based on location and program. So then she looked by program and looked up childcare, and it listed all of the programs that are offered in Maine. And then if someone was to choose to go out of state, she could also look at other colleges outside of Maine. Then she was able to really look at what the program description is at Southern Maine Community College versus Central Maine Community College, or another college that offers childcare, and really compare the two college systems, compare the pricing, compare the program, and also look at what the prerequisites are for that program so that she could focus her high school remaining career on those subjects that were related to the college experience. So it was really nice for her to kind of lay out the plan and lay out her career path. So that is one example of how a student utilized the virtual job shadow. What's nice about the virtual job shadow is there's a place to build what we call flex lessons. So there are certain tools that counselors use that are not within the virtual job shadow, but we're able to place it in the virtual job shadow and direct the student to complete that particular lesson. So it's really nice. So we added extra lessons in there, for example, how best you learn, and looking at, are you a hands-on learner or are you an auditory learner? So there is a lot of lessons plans that can be tailored to the student or to the group of students. Just go to the next slide. So some of the things that I've just mentioned here as well is that you can personalize the lessons plan towards the student. So for example, we had another student who was looking at, well, I think I have it listed here, Joshua, for example, that he had an interest in jewelry making, and he was actually doing that and selling his jewelry at fairs. So they really kind of looked at, what is the process of jewelry making that you enjoy the most? And really looked at employment opportunities within this field, looking at what the income potentially could be in this field, and a labor market research really based on, he was planning on staying in Maine, and looking at what are the potential jobs in this area. So through that discovery, he really decided that it was the soldering of jewelry that he really liked. And so it kind of led them down a path of looking at welding occupations. Meanwhile, still keeping the jewelry making as an option. So he pursued looking at the video of welders and to take a look at, you know, what kind of experience do I need to enter into the field, and the various different types of welding, such as underwater welding, you know, really looking at the different variations of this profession. So what they did was really developed short-term goals and then looking at long-term goals. So again, really looking at what's that career path. And he also took advantage of, again, comparing the colleges so that he could look at the various programs and what was available for him. And the virtual job shadow is really nice because it links you directly to those sites. So if you're looking up Maine system, for example, you can go, it will take you directly to the University of Orono, and then you can look side by side to compare the colleges. So in the end, this individual decided, you know what, I really want a good income. I want something that's stable. And he discovered that maybe jewelry making is not going to give him the financial stability that he is wanting. And also health insurance benefits, which is another side of having students look at everything. So he decided that he really wanted to pursue welding as his career, but keep the jewelry making as something that he's going to do on the side. And that's going to be his way of, you know, enjoyment, pleasure, and continue to do what he's doing now. So it was really nice kind of combination of efforts to really look at the options that he can have. The other nice part about the virtual job shadow is it does link to employment opportunities. So if a student, for example, was looking at the option of welding, they would be able to put welding in and be able to see what positions are offered right now for welding, so that they can look at what the employer expectations are, what kind of skills they're looking for, and training or education. So it really is, it connects students on developing what their career pathway is, and really linking the labor market information, linking in that post-secondary or training opportunities, and then of course starting out with the discovery process, really making sure that yes, you come to us with this idea, but have you thought about all of the other options that are out there? Because we want to make sure that the student is exposed to as much as they possibly can. So that's, I mean, the virtual job shadow is a really nice platform. And like I said, it's all in one. And also the student is able to create their own career portfolio. So everything that they do on the virtual job shadow is going to be saved in this portfolio, which they can download, they can print, and they can really just, you know, go through all of the material. I'll hand it back to Libby.
Great, thank you, Sam. And I think that's a great setup for where we're going to go next to talk about. Brenda mentioned to you the importance of work-based learning before high school graduation. And next up, I have Darcy Brockman, who is a business account manager and youth employment consultant for the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. And she's going to bring us into conversation with two school staff who have been working closely with VR to talk about their experiences.
Thank you, Libby. I apologize, my camera does not seem to be working this morning or this afternoon, but I'm thankful that I'm on this call, and Nicole and Shelley. Shelley's from Massabesic and Nicole is from Gorham High School. I will just give you a quick overview of the program. During the month of July, we have several students from each school attend 4 weeks of a paid work experience where VR pays the wages. We work multiple days and we work 3 to 4 hour shifts. School has been gracious enough to provide transportation to and from the work sites. We do have coaching available to our students that need them. And our planning starts usually the November before the following year. So we start planning quite a bit ahead of time because it can be very logistically challenging into getting everyone into service. But Shelley, my first question is to you and Nicole is, how have you partnered, or what was your reasoning for partnering with Voc Rehab during the school year and the summer? And how has it benefited your students?
Shelley, are you going first?
Sorry, I'm sorry, I was muted. So we actually started partnering with VR. We had VR services in an individual basis for years, but then our VR counselor who serves our school, Anne Marie Riley, said that they were looking to do some paid employment experiences for students. And then we started talking about what would be the ideal time. And we talked about the summer. And then we were able to partner with both VR. VR paid the wages. We provided the transportation for students to and from the work site. And then we had another partner our first year, which was Alpha One, that did a class for one of the 4 days that the students were in attendance, and the students actually got paid for that class. And I think it's been a really good experience for all of the kids. They've made friends, they've increased their confidence, and they've learned what some of the expectations of work are, which are different from school. And I think that's good for them to learn, not just hear it from a teacher or a social worker saying, you know, it's not like this in the real world.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nicole, do you have anything to add?
Yes, definitely. So this is our second year in Gorham. We just completed our second year doing the summer work program, but prior to that, we had done some tours actually with Darcy, took some of our students out to do tours of different businesses. VR has come in to meet with our staff to talk about what they can offer and to help them identify students that may qualify and benefit from services. We've actually had students participate in the virtual job shadow. And our first year doing the summer work experience, we had 3 students participate, and we're actually able, through grant funding, to train 3 staff members to become job coaches. Our second year, we had 6 students participate, and we trained 3 more job coaches. And actually in the coming months, we'll have a total of 9 job coaches and 3 employment specialists. So we are really excited. One of our big visions is actually about to start coming into light. We have a student that will be working during the school day, supported by one of our coaches as a part of his curriculum, where he will be getting paid and earning high school credit. So we're really excited about that partnership.
Thank you, Nicole. And Massachusetts program started about 4 years ago, and I think our total is up to 69 students that have gone through the program. And what Nicole mentioned about certifying employment specialists and her staff and job coaches, that's kind of how we see the future, where that partnership comes together and literally everyone is bringing something to the table, with Voc Rehab paying for wages. And now we can tap into a labor pool as well and really embed those services to be year round. So what do you think, Shelley and Nicole, made the partnership a success for your schools and yourself, Shelley?
Well, I would say one of the biggest things that was helpful or that we really worked on is communication, because there's a lot of moving parts in a program like this, and everyone has a different piece, but it all has to mesh together like a finely tuned machine. And that takes a lot of talking and double checking. And you know, like you said, Darcy, earlier, we start planning in September with a post summer meeting. How did everything go? What can we improve? And then we just continue from there, identifying kids to be for the next summer, who's coming back. And also, I think the thing in my district, because it's so rural, that kids actually, there's no one spot in our district that's like a hub of business. So we are looking into other communities like Saco, Wells, Sanford for job opportunities. So for that reason, the transportation has been key of getting kids to and from work.
Great.
Yeah, Darcy, I would agree with everything that Shelley said. This partnership has just been tremendous for our students. This has been successful because of the collaboration we've had, because of everybody's willingness to share resources and expertise. You know, because of this partnership, our students have had exposure to different types of work experiences with support from job coaches that have helped them develop confidence, independence, and self-esteem. And we are really invested in building our capacity to support our own students in our community.
Yeah, I would agree with both of you. There are a lot of moving parts. That's my busiest time of year, probably from May to the end of July and stuff. And again, that team collaboration really right on board to the 23rd hour and still on board until that last hour of work. And having people identified sooner than later that where they're placed and where do we come in the process of planning. So that is great. What would you say to other schools and families about summer work?
Darcy, I would say that a lot of the kids that we refer for the summer work experience program, some of them are pretty, they're life skills level kids. And then some of them are not life skills level kids, but they're a little bit higher functioning. And to a T, every one of them has gotten something out of the experience. We've had kids like really love work experience to the point like I'm thinking about one boy who he really wasn't that invested in school. He had kind of maxed out a little bit on what was available to him through the academic part of school. And he went and he worked for a summer and he loved his job so much. And whereas before he had quite a few absenteeisms and he never missed a day at his job. And when he came back to school, he was like, I really want to work. I don't want to go to school anymore. And he was at an age where he could decide that, and it wasn't detrimental to him to leave school. But I just think it was so neat that a kid who was just like leaving school, not going to school because he didn't think there was anything for him at school, found another reason to get out of his house and do something that was meaningful to other people.
Great, thank you, Shelley.
I think for our students, having work experience prior to exiting high school will help them develop the skills they need in order to be work ready post high school. We want them to explore their strengths and, their areas of need, and find out what it is they're passionate about and what they're good at before they head out into the real world. Because, we all know being able to maintain employment and have independence is what this is all about.
Absolutely. I think that I would just say some of the work sites that we have worked with is almost a pathway to employment. Some of the students were placed at Funtown, Sedeco at UNE, Sedeco at USM, RSD Graphics, the Milk Room, a couple farms that we worked with, Goodwill retail stores. So for them getting that exposure at that work site will almost make them a little more marketable if they decide to go back to that company and seek employment. And then if you guys just wanted to share a success story, again, Shelley, you have 4 years of success, and Nicole, you only have 2, but if there's something that really stands out in your mind about a client or a student that we have worked with.
Yeah, Darcy, it's Shelley again. I just wanted to piggyback a little bit on what you said about some of the work sites. And one of the most the most impassioned work site we have is the Wells Estuary, where kids are going in and they're working on invasive species and doing all kinds of things that are nature oriented. And for some of our kids that are really into science, that has been the best work site for them and has really helped them develop, well, I know I want to work in nature. I want to do something in nature. That's my thing. So I just wanted to add on to that. But as far as the success, I'm thinking about a student I worked with who was probably, 16, female at the time of her first work experience. She'd had quite a few struggles with mental health and was feeling very down and frightened and no self-confidence about how to go forward. I'll never be able to hold a job. And we were able to place her in a situation where she was able to go at her own pace. And she happened to be very detail oriented, and the employer required that. So it was like the perfect fit. And when we had our class, which was run at that time by Alpha One, we talked about what's going well in your work sites, what's not going well. And she just was able to say, this has been the best thing that's ever happened to me. And it's just like, it was just so, knowing her struggles and for her to say that, it was just really, okay, this is a great thing.
Thank you.
So like Darcy said, in Gorham, we're much newer at this and have a lot less students, but I can easily think of at least 2 right off the top of my head. I'm thinking about a student from this past summer that had no work experience, coming from a family where they're not really getting that model of what it's like to go to work and do your full shift. And I have to say she just did such an amazing job. And the report that we got from her work site was that she was a harder worker than many of their full-time employees, and that they would love to have her back. And other feedback we got was that they would love to have her as a mentor in the future. And being able to share that information with her and seeing her just light up and be so excited and so eager to get back out there and get some more experience at another job site. It just makes you realize that all of the hard work we put into it from now until July is totally worth it.
Absolutely. Thank you both for being on the webinar with me. I guess back to you, Libby.
Well, Darcy, thank you very much. And Shelley and Nicole, I know this is a super busy time of year for you, and thank you both. And for the words that you shared, I think, I hope that will be really helpful to other schools and others as they think about the importance of work experience. So now I want to turn it over to one of our VR counselors in Lewiston, Wendy Allen. And Wendy is going to introduce a video of one of her clients.
Hi there. I guess my camera is not working either today, so apologize for that. You are going to be hearing from Riley Willette, who lives in Turner. He went to Leavitt High School, and I first met him when he was 18, and he was very clear that he wanted to drive truck. And one of the ways that I partnered with the school was we split the cost of him going to Region 9 to get his CDL. And then he went on to Washington County Community College, where he did their heavy equipment program. And some of the things about Riley to know, and you'll get that from the video, is that his persistence, his positive attitude, his great work ethic, and his willingness to advocate for himself when he needed it, when he needed support. So we first started working in high school and then picked him up again after Washington County Community College with some employment assistance as he was traversing the world of work and trying to find the right fit. And so without further ado, we can hear from Riley. I do want to caution you that the video that you're about to see, we taped it in the pouring rain underneath a metal roof on Route 1 in Brunswick. So there is some background noise, but here it goes.
Libby, is there a link in here?
Hi, Samantha. This is Dylan. Try clicking up the beginning where it says slideshow, and it says play from beginning and play from current slide. Click current slide, and then it should give you the option.
Not seeing
If it was
it.
edited as a YouTube video, it should have.
Okay, I tested it in there. So let me, let's just, I'll tell you what, let's move on to ACE Academy, and then we'll come back to the video. Sam, I'll send you the link itself to YouTube, and then we'll pull that up separately.
All right, sorry about that.
No, now I'll turn it over to Brenda to introduce our next guest.
Thank you, Libby. So I just wanted to give a little overview first. DBVI has provided a number of different programs to deliver pre-ETS services, the pre-employment service transition services. And one of them has been our college prep program, which we run every other year. It's a 5-week program. The students get to live on the college campus. They have learning labs. They go through a 3-credit college course. They have community projects, and they have AT training, and they also have a work-based learning experience. So due to COVID, we did not feel that we could deliver this in-person program. So we connected with the Sky's the Limit Communications for the ACE Advocacy Academy. And ACE is an acronym for Advocacy and Communication equals Employment. And this ACE Academy, they present a number of different sessions and modules. The purpose of the program was to examine job readiness, improve work readiness, provide social skills, assess the students' strengths, skills, and accomplishments to date, and to consider what their options were for the future. They discovered opportunities to self-advocate in school, community, and work. So we were very fortunate to be able to work with them. And I have to say that this opportunity also led to a work-based learning experience for one of the students. So we have some special guests here today, and I'm going to ask them some questions. I'll introduce them as I'm asking them, because we've got the VR counselor, we've got the student, and we've got the program provider. So I'm going to start with James Howard, who's been working as a VRC for 14 years within the Bureau of Rehabilitation Services. And for the last 5 years, he's been specializing in blind and vision impaired customers rehabilitation needs with DBVI. James has a real passion to work with transition students and collaborate with various agencies who collectively support pre-ed students with their vocational aspirations. So James, can you hear me? And are you ready to answer some questions? I don't see James on there. Oh, there he is. James, I think you're on mute. There you go. Okay. So as a VR professional, can you please share why are pre-employment transition services so important?
I think a lot has been recovered earlier by Libby, but really its pre-employment services are vital for students, their families, their schools, and community partners to basically enrich the transition planning process, basically gaining knowledge and those experiences which are necessary to make those what we call informed decisions, which of course is a very important fundamental philosophy of VR. So again, those topics are being covered. It's that career exploration, work-based learning experiences, exploration and education, and training programs for high school, but really the workplace readiness training to develop the social and independent living skills and self-advocacy. Essentially learn how to navigate and operate in an adult world. And as we know as the verb now, adulting.
And so can you also share why work-based learning experiences are so valuable?
Yeah, they're so valuable because it solves a problem that young job seekers face. It's hard to get a job without work experience, and it's hard to get work experience without a job. So in work-based learning experiences, pre-ed students can get the experience employers are seeking and gain the skills and credentials they need to enter and succeed in careers. Workplace learning experiences are significant for all students, but can be especially useful for students with disabilities and or lack the pre-employment and work readiness skills, including those soft skills. So work-based learning experience is an excellent opportunity for youth who may not have access to educational opportunities or professional networks or social capital, which plays a critical role in career success and growth. As a question I posed to everyone, who was your vocational mentor when you were a junior, senior, when you were putting your first foot on the career ladder? So likewise, work-based learning experience support employers to gain access to job candidates who have the potential knowledge, skills, and abilities for the role. So natural vocational interests and hands-on experience they're seeking. What has been observed is that traditional classroom-based education and many third-party training programs don't usually offer the instruction tailored to the specific needs of the individual employers. A little bit where Shelley had said you max out of school, but what can you enrich that experience in other mechanisms and work-based learning? But when employers work with schools and other partners like VR, a customized and individualized work-based learning experience is developed and can ensure that the curriculum and on-the-job activities cover the skills that workers need to succeed in crucial roles at their organizations. So there's 4 benefits though to students and workers. First one, gain exposure to the world of work. So participants in work-based learning experiences develop skills that employers value, but may be difficult to acquire in classroom settings. These include not only technical skills, but also professional skills, such as the ability to work as a member of a team, an awareness of the need to be proactive, and an understanding of workplace expectations. For example, getting to work on time. So number 2, what is another benefit? First-hand involvement in specific occupations or industries. So work-based learning experience gives students an opportunity to immerse themselves in a particular career field and interact with those professionals who have worked in it for years. This type of experience is so invaluable, it can help people make decisions about their long-term career goals. Gain experience that reinforces academic instruction. Number 3, in work-based learning experiences, participants can apply the lessons they've learned in the classroom to real-world situations. As a result, they are more likely to master and retain the material, and they are able to demonstrate their new skills in a concrete way. And number 4, get a paying job that may become permanent. So in some work-based learning experiences, which has been alluded to, such as internships, but participants work in paid jobs that last for the duration of a program and may even lead to that full-time position at an organization or part-time. But whether or not they result in temporary or permanent employment, all work-based learning experiences yield long-term career benefits because participants acquire skills that they draw from in making career decisions going forward and can add to their resumes. So what are the benefits though now to businesses and employers? So let's look at their needs and demands. So again, 4 areas of that. Number 1, developed more robust talent pipelines. So by participating in work-based learning experiences, businesses can embrace, basically grow your own talent development strategies by giving their current employees opportunity to develop the skills that are needed for difficult to fill or high turnover positions. So with VR as a significant resource in these initiatives, businesses can ensure that the skills and qualifications trainees require are aligned with the specific workforce needs. And experiences such as internships, which you're going to hear wonderfully from Ryan shortly, in which students and other trainees receive temporary job assignments with participating employers, can give businesses an opportunity to train and observe potential employees before committing to hiring them. Secondly, access a diverse and innovative labor pool. Companies with diverse workforces are stronger and more competitive than others because their teams are made up of individuals who bring a range of perspectives and innovative ideas that can help them keep pace with a rapidly evolving marketplace. Work-based learning experiences can help cultivate diversity in the talent pipeline by providing that structure, support, and training that many people of many different backgrounds need to succeed. Thirdly, businesses earning a reputation for being a great place to work. Many organizations find that their staff turnover rates decline when they launch work-based learning experiences and with various partners. That's because employers see these work opportunities as investments in their future and more likely to stay loyal to businesses that offer them. Very importantly, job seekers who also complete work-based learning experiences can evaluate the potential employer and see whether it's a good fit. Finally, boost their business prospects. So work-based learning experiences strengthen the local business climate and foster economic growth by contributing to the creation of a skilled regional workforce. Providing workers with opportunities to earn valuable credentials and develop new skill benefits everyone in the community by reducing unemployment, increasing consumer spending, and attracting new business to the area. In turn, what type of robust economic growth benefits the businesses that offer work-based learning strategies? And one interesting, I noticed Nicole had mentioned about maintaining employment. Statistically, if a high school student is in employment before they graduate high school, they are 5 times more likely to have a working career. Okay, handing it back to you, Brenda.
Thank you, James. Appreciate that. So next, we're going to hear from Ryan. He was one of our first participants in this virtual pre-employment transition training that we had. Ryan Mentor lives in Lebanon, Maine. He's currently attending Noble High School as a senior and Southern New Hampshire University as a freshman. His hobbies include politics, cooking, reading, and singing. Ryan shares he plans to pursue a career in children's rights advocacy with an end goal of a seat in Congress. So Ryan, can you tell us a little bit about the ACE Online Advocacy Academy that you attended?
Thank you, Brenda. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be speaking to all of you today, and I'm grateful for the opportunity. The ACE Academy Advocacy Program was definitely a benefit. I'm very grateful I had the opportunity to enroll in it. Not only did it focus on job readiness and prep skills, but it also placed a large emphasis on advocacy. As as visually impaired, as a visually impaired student knows, advocacy is something that we always will face. You know, in high school I've had to advocate, in college I definitely will, and in the workplace it's most certain I will as well. And it was quite eye-opening to have this program which kind of opened a window into not only the importance of advocacy, but also how to go about advocating. One of the examples that comes to mind is I remember in the first day, David and Eileen were talking about how advocating can be daunting, but something to keep in mind is the advocacy sandwich. When you want to advocate, you start with something positive, what you have enjoyed, what's going well. Then you mention what needs to be advocated, what you're advocating for, what might need a little tweaking. And then something positive again. So you're reinforcing the positives of what is going on while also advocating for your needs. Another great aspect of this program was that it was taught by visually impaired individuals as well. I think that having that ability to relate and having the instructors also have been in your shoes at some point made the academy much more educational, but also more relatable.
Great. And you were also selected for a work-based learning experience. Can you share what you learned from that opportunity?
That opportunity was something I was very happy to and grateful to be able to participate in. I learned a lot about myself and also skills that I need. I think the biggest emphasis on that work experience was the skills, organization, research, being able to work in a team, as James had mentioned, and other necessary skills that will come up as I proceed through college and enter into the workplace. Thinking about it now, and even a couple years ago as I started thinking about jobs, it's daunting to think, wow, I'm going to be in a workplace someday. For me, I want to be in a law firm. That's definitely something that can be daunting at times. But I think having this opportunity was kind of a little glimpse into what that'll be like, and it also helped further my skills. Research. I did a lot of research on such things as SSDI and SSI, crafting handouts and learning about those programs and how they work. And organization, being able to organize my thoughts into something that I could then turn into the team, and being able to work with Eileen and David and other members of the team to be successful and, produce a good handout and such things. And these skills didn't only help me in this internship, but they'll also help me in the future. As I go into law, research is something that I'm going to have to do frequently. Organization, being able to write compellingly and well, will also come up. So I think that this enhanced my skills and gave me a really great window into the workplace ahead.
Thank you, Ryan. We were glad you had that opportunity, and thank you for joining us today. And last but not least, of course, is David DiNateris, and he is the CIO, which stands for Chief Inspiration Officer at the Sky's the Limit Communications, a training firm delivering trainings for schools and universities, Fortune 500 companies, and state agencies on the topics of accessibility, leadership, and employment. David is blind, and he's held leadership roles in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. David's firm partnered with Eileen Rivera-Lai of Blind Savvy USA to deliver the ACE Academy programs. David, why did you develop the ACE Academy programs?
Brenda, thank you. It's a privilege and a pleasure and an honor to be with everyone today and to celebrate. It is a celebration of people's potential. And so thank you for inviting us. We developed this program, Brenda, because there was a need. I was privileged to hold leadership roles in New Jersey and Pennsylvania as a job developer and a job coach and a coordinator of assistive technology, and then held director roles in Pennsylvania and executive director roles of the Pennsylvania Office of Vocational Rehabilitation. And I always saw a need. And growing up, I went totally blind when I was 19 years old, and I was a sophomore in college. And I knew that there were skills that I needed to be successful, but I really wasn't sure what they were. And so just working, I came with the ABCs of blindness skills, and the A, Brenda, the A is for access. Access equals success. When we can help people access the same information as their classmates, colleagues, neighbors, or peers, they can get the same education, the same training, and the same jobs. So it was so important that we have access to information, access to inspiration, access to a positive network of people. I loved what James says. Every time James speaks, I always learn something new and I write it down. And I love that he said that, who was your vocational mentor that, and how did they helped you put your first, your first step on the ladder. And so do you have access to mentors? And so I saw a need that people needed to have their imagination stretched and to have high expectations. And so we developed these training programs because the unemployment rate or the labor participation rate for individuals who are blind or visually impaired is still isn't where it needs to be. And so, like James said, the statistics show when students who are blind or vision impaired have summer, weekend, or evening summer experiences, summer, weekend, or evening experiences, their job prospects rise exponentially. And so, Brenda, that's why we developed it, because there was a need. There continues to be a need for us to help people to, and I love the law of inertia. Things in motion stay in motion, and things at rest stay at rest unless acted upon by a greater force. And the fact that you invested in your customers in these virtual programs, I truly believe is a force and not a farce, and helps get people moving. And so that's what we love to do. We love to help people get moving. We love to help people believe that they could do something that they maybe once thought wasn't possible, or maybe someone told them wasn't possible. That's why we started it, Brenda.
Thank you. So we can hear the passion in your voice, but maybe you could just elaborate on why you're so passionate about training for students who are blind or visually impaired.
Brenda, because as a kid growing up, I didn't have the same opportunities, and I wish I did. And I learned the hard way. I went to the School of Hard Knocks, and I learned the hard way. And I saw many of my friends who were growing up who didn't have a supportive family. I believe so. It's such an honor to be here with the Parents Federation, because that's the secret sauce. At the end of the day, schools could do so much, government can do so much, but when there's involved moms and dads, and I was very blessed to have, involved parents. My mother and father were first generation from Italy. They didn't have any advanced degrees like anyone here, but they were possibility thinkers. And they introduced me to as many successful people with disabilities as they could. And my father, he was the health inspector in a small town in Montclair, New Jersey. And he would take me out of school when I was 8 or 9 years old. And David, we're going to go out to lunch today, and we're going to go. And he introduced me to his friend Mike, and Mike was in a wheelchair from polio, but he was an accountant. And then he introduced me to his friend Barry, and Barry was an engineer, and he had his leg blown off in Vietnam. And Muriel was his secretary, and she was deaf. And he would just introduce me to all these people who were doing things. And the very simple but powerful message that I like to bring and I like to put a handle on is, if they can do it, maybe you can too. So that's what we love to do. Is I love to stretch imaginations, raise expectations. And if we do those things, we're going to improve opportunities for students, parents, teachers, educators, employers, everywhere we go.
Thank you. So as you all can imagine, our students that attended this ACE Academy all get a lot of skills out of it, and it was very exciting, and David made it fun. So thank you all, panel, for being here today, and I'm going to turn it back over to Libby.
Great. Well, that's wonderful. And I think we've come, it's been a very quick hour. And before we leave you, we're going to introduce you again to Riley. And as Wendy said a few minutes ago, there are some sound issues, but you'll see the captioning, or hopefully you'll be able to hear clearly enough. There's some rain going on in the background at the beginning of the video. Okay, Sam, let's play. So we're not hearing the sound. You're muted, Sam.
let me go back.
Much more my style, and which I love the most. And especially.
Sorry about that. All right, we're gonna start again. Here's Riley.
When did you first think that you might like to drive a truck?
The first thing I want is how first, not everybody can be a truck driver, of course. It's not an easy job. But the reason why I want to be a truck driver is I got the patience to do it. And it's much more my style, and which I love the most. And especially a lot of all my friends thought it was a good idea to be a truck driver. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to get my seat out and try her out.
And so you said something to me a while ago. I think you were 17, you said?
I was.
What happened when you were 17 that made you think you might like to go to truck?
Well, again, when I went to my dad's friend was a trucker, and I went for Arlington, Connecticut, and I saw it, I love it. It's a big vehicle, you feel the power of the motor, and you feel like you're like the king of the road. So that's why I fell in love and be a trucker.
About to say how you got a job at CN Brown when we had to move because of the rain. So,
Yeah.
Can you say a little bit about?
Well, when I saw CN Brown hire for drivers, I applied. They're interested in their experience. You know what? I'm gonna give her a shot. So after when I got hired, it was in February. I started around the 25th of February, and I started in Lewiston. Do a 3 weeks sit down in Lewiston, do like a 10.
Riley, what has been the biggest challenge for you?
Well, the biggest challenge to me for looking for jobs is my anxiety. That was the biggest challenge to me, because a lot of people was not the right fit because they thought it was too much anxiety. Which, yes, it was harder, but that doesn't mean I'm not a hard worker. I know I can do it. So when I took off with it, I was heading to Wisconsin, long drive. I was a little nerve-wracking the first day by myself. So I was focused, get there, safely responsible to the first delivery. When I got there, I went to the first delivery, and the customer came out, and he had the door. So you're like, hey, you're the new driver? Yes, I am. I'm the new driver to St. Brown. So your name is Riley? That's me. So they were talking to me, and they said I was the nicest driver they've ever seen.
So it's the right fit.
It's the 100% right fit for me. I don't feel no anxious or nothing. I feel like I'm happy going to work every day.
That's awesome.
So,
do you have any advice for other young people looking for jobs?
Actually, I do. From other advice for others, not just truck drivers, anybody, don't give up on yourself. Keep on trying. There's a job out there that's looking to be the right fit for you, and keep on plugging. And if I can do it, you guys can do it. Especially for learning disabilities. That doesn't mean nothing. Keep on trying. There's a job out there to be the right fit for you. So don't give up on yourself.
Thank you, Sam, for playing that. And thanks to Riley. Thanks to all of you for sticking with our not great sound quality, but we really wanted to bring you.
He is the head of Oregonians for Trump.
Oh, is that
probably
me
some
still?
of the reason why a lot of you guys came today.
Hello. So we just wanted to, even though there wasn't great sound quality, we really wanted to share with you Riley's story. And one, because he is somebody who worked hard, found the job that was a right fit for him, and really wanted to share his message, which I think is very similar to what we heard from David, that if I can do it, you can do it, and there's the right job out there with the right fit and the right supports. So Wendy, thank you very much for going out in the rain to interview Riley and to bring that. So as we close today, and I know we're right at the 4 o'clock mark. Are there any last questions that anybody has before we wrap up this webinar? Well, seeing none, I'll say thank you all very much. We had some great folks on with us today, and thank you all for your time, and thank you to everyone for joining us. And I'm just going to turn it over to Brenda.
And I just wanted to say thank you to everyone as well. Thank you for your participation, and thank you all for joining us.